Hi guys, Queen MLB in Las Vegas. I wanted to talk about how I met Harry Potter. This got into it. Um, I have two daughters. They're 13 and 17. So when the first book came out, a lot of my friends were asking, are you going to let your kids read the Harry Potter series? Are you going to let your kids read about these wizards? Are you going to let your kids read about these evil, anti-Christian things? And my answer was, my kids are 2 and 5. We read Dr. Seuss. We read Winnie the Pooh. I don't think we're going to be into these just yet. Because that there's a rule in my house. When a movie comes out, if that movie is based on the book, I will take you to see the movie if you have read the book. Now the reason behind this is that I learned through many, and I don't like visualizing what the writer is saying based on what a producer thought he was saying. I would rather read the book fresh with a relationship between me and the author, and then see how a movie producer also visualized that. So anyway, that's the rule in our house. So we didn't have an issue with this until the movie came out. When the movie came out, my girls were now 5 and 8. So I got all the questions again. Are you going to let the girls see the movie? You know, this is a really anti-Christian, satanic, wizarding movie. My answer to that was, I'm a Lord of the Rings girl. I got through high school believing I was a hobbit, and I have no problem with wizards and sorcery and all of that in fiction. So I said my problem with the movie wasn't that I didn't want the girls to see it, it was that they needed to read the book. So I told my 8-year-old that she and I were going to read the book together out loud to the 5-year-old. We would get through the book together, and that way I could judge for myself if this is an evil book that I need to protect my children from. Well, we started reading the book, and it's not short, and Kate, the little one, and I would fall asleep, and the next morning, typically, I would find the book in Liz's bed. And I'd say, how far ahead did you get on this? And she'd say, oh, you know, I got pretty far ahead, but don't worry, I won't mind rereading it. So we chugged through it. It took us probably a week to get through it, reading it aloud. We did see the movie and immediately had to get the second book. My 8-year-old was asking me for a 350-page book, and she's a reader. My girls are readers, always have been readers, but their parents are readers, and you know, when parents say to me, how do you get your kids to read? Read. Give them an example and they'll read. We read together, we recommend books to each other, all of that. She was a reader, but she was still 8 years old. It was still a 350-page book. So I'm so impressed that J.K. Rowling has gotten so many kids to read big books with interest, reading and rereading, and also adults who haven't read in years are reading these books. I mean, I read every day, but some of my friends had not read since they were required to read in school, and they're reading the Harry Potter books. So from there, we were the typical, gotta have the book the first day, gotta get to every opening, every book release, every movie opening. And from there on, we have twice. What would happen by the third, fourth book is the book would come out and we would need 3 copies, because Liz would sit down, get the book, and we wouldn't see her until she was finished it. And she wasn't ready to talk till she had started it again. So we didn't have a chance to read that book. We've made ones. they would come in from outside at the farm and say, I have this stick, how do I make it into a wand? The Halloween costumes came through the years. We would go to the movie openings wearing robes, or house colors. I do remember a book was being released during a family reunion, and we were going to be in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, and the girls were very concerned about that. Mom, how are we going to get this book, because we're going to be in Grand Rapids. It's a very small town. I said, well, I'll figure it out. So I go online, I find a bookstore in Grand Rapids, and darn if they aren't having a midnight release of the book. And so not only did we go, there was a sorting hat and games and all kinds of other things. Hi Randa. Not only did we go to the book release in Grand Rapids, but I took any of the cousins who wanted to go. I took a couple of adults and all of the kids. And I told all the kids if they went and wanted a book, I would buy them a book, and I walked out of there with 14 copies of the new book. So maybe we got some cousins reading it too. And I really have noticed that the kids who really like Harry Potter typically have parents who really like Tolkien. I'm a quilter, I'm a paper piecer. When I started to look for a Harry Potter quilt to make for my kids for Christmas, I was going to make them each the same quilt, and I started in October or November, because quilts come together real fast for me. How hard can this be? And I went online to look for a quilt pattern, and of course there are none. And then the free paper piece patterns at sewhook.org are phenomenal. So I decided to start on a few of those and see where it took me. And it took me to, then my oldest daughter has to write this paper for school that is she has 2 years to write it and has to turn in drafts and everything. And when she came to me and said, I can write this on anything I want, and I said, well, you know, if you're going to spend 2 years on something, write about something that you enjoy. Write about something that you're passionate about that's not going to bore you. And her answers were, the only things I get excited about are volleyball and Harry Potter. And so we found a Harry Potter theme, which she will be writing her paper to graduate from high school on. And it's, I've written papers on Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So it's a little bit reminiscent for me. So anyway, we are a Harry Potter family. We my husband has, and sometimes he just looks at us at the dinner table and has no idea what we're talking about. Anyway, that's how I got into Harry Potter, and how Harry Potter has then led me to first Jennifer at sewhook.org, and then so many other people. And before I started doing Talk to Me Tuesday, I would very timidly email a person who designed something, or a person who commented about something, or I would just comment online and say, you know, hope that I wasn't intruding on their lives or something. And it is amazing how friendly these people are, the common thread being Harry Potter. And I now often email them. I feel like Talk to Me Tuesday has made us all friends. I feel like I know all these girls around the world, and that to me is just a whole new network of people who, of course, we would never have met if it weren't for Jennifer and if it weren't for Harry Potter. And so I feel blessed in a very magical way to have been touched by these books and movies.